Turn off Bluetooth.
Okay, I turned off Bluetooth.
You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phone. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.CFRN.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.CFRN.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Tuesday, 7th day of July, 2020. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, well, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at CFRN.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. Also, when you join that way, you'll have access to the chat box, and that allows you to ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, on the days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, not to worry, point to any internet-connected browser to CFRN.net/live. There you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. We also stream live during the show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And the show's live 2 hours a day, but we're streaming great content around the clock, 24/7, since April of 2005. And you can access that stream at any time, around the clock, right from our homepage. Let's open with a word of prayer. In fact, let's pray this together. Father, I set myself in agreement that the will of God shall be done today. Your will, God, in my government, in my church, in my business, within my home, and my family. God, you see my written list of things to do. You know the people I'm meeting today. God, I pray that you would just remove those who don't belong on my schedule. I speak to the north, the south, east, and west, and call forth from the shadows of my life that person, those people you have intended for me to be linked with today. Father, your priorities are my priorities. Your will shall be done. I am led by your peace, filled with your joy, and controlled by the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, happy Tuesday. Been quite a session. I'm going to tell you all about it here in just a little bit. And for those of you that were in the pre-market strategy session, we're going to talk a lot about that area of resistance that I gave you this morning on the S&P, where that bearish cross took place overnight on my go-to chart. What a beautiful thing that was. It's not magic, it's not voodoo, and it's not a secret when you become a CFRN family member. It's just part of how the markets work, and certainly a part of how we do business. And so I look forward to teaching you exactly how that works. Now, these are the cash markets from around the world, the indices as they're called. We'll start here in the U.S. Dow currently down 181 points. NASDAQ still dancing to the beat of a somewhat different drummer, up 44 points. S&P 500 down 4. Russell 2000 down 2.5. Those are some pretty sedate numbers on the S&P, on the Russell, but it's been a wild ride. I'll show you more of that later in the show. Okay, in the commodity basket, crude oil is up 18 cents, trading 40.81 last. Gold We're going to talk a lot about gold today. Gold up $15.70, trading 1809.20 last. Gold is approaching an area that it hasn't traded since 2011. Yeah, big picture stuff. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei was down 99 points. Shanghai was up 12. The Hang Seng down 363. That's a drop of 1.25%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 96, 1.5%. DAX down 116, 1%. And the CAC down 37, 0.75%. That gives us a mixed day in Asia, a red day in the UK, and thanks to the NQ, it's a mixed day here in the US of A. Let's go to Michael and get a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room. If you're ready, Michael.
I'm ready.
He's ready. All right. When I come back, we are going to talk to John today. He's been under the weather. I spoke to him last night. He was in good spirits, so I'm sure he'll have a lot to share with you today when he comes on. We'll cover, of course, the Logic 247 alerts from last night, the Concierge Trade Alerts, all that and more, plus answers to your questions. Michael?
Okay.
It's all yours. Take it away.
All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. Right down here, it says 5-day free trial, no credit card required. Click on that. It'll bring you to this page, EminiTrainingschool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number, and you can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. Okay, once you click that confirmation link, then we know you took the trial, and you'll be sent all the information you need for one luxurious free week in our live training room. Okay. Yeah, let me just delete that. The spreadsheet. Now, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, made 2 ticks in the euro and 42 ticks in gold. That put us at plus 432.5 on the morning session. Today, took 10 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 contract, and we took a total of 9 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $1,445. That's over 4 trading days, averaging $361 per contract per trading day. On the year, we're now at $45,009. That's over 122 trading days, averaging $368 per contract per trading day. Okay, let me minimize that. Now we're going to start out with gold, and we'll probably focus a little bit on gold because that's where we had most of our trades today. Yeah, we had most of our trades there and most of our profit there as well. Let's go all the way back here. Now, our first trade on gold was right here. We just picked up 2 ticks. Second one was right there. We picked up 8 more to give us the goal for the day. The third one was over here. We picked up 15 on that one. You know, and you can see gold was just really active today. You know, there was, well, this was really fast in here, but there was a trade set up right here. Right there to capture that leg up. There was one right here to capture that leg up. And that was pretty much it. Okay, the second one that I mentioned was actually the first one, but it was right there. Okay. Then things flattened out, started to turn around and start moving down, give some of that back. And it did. And then it turned around again and started moving in the other direction. So we took, what did we take there? Just a couple of ticks here to put us at plus 27. And then one more 15 tick trade to put us at plus 42. Okay. Now, I pretty much slowed down at that point to get into the training more than the trading, because I got pretty good on the morning session. Right here was a nice shorting opportunity. And let's see, during the break, Right there was one. And that was about it. That was about it. Okay, so on the euro, let's see, we had a break even right there. Okay, we had a long opportunity right here, a long opportunity there. We missed both of, and two long opportunities here. We picked up one tick on each of them. During the break, there was nothing on the euro. Okay. Come on, charts. There we go. Now, we didn't do anything with crude oil, which is odd, but it just didn't provide a lot of opportunity. There was one shot right here. Would have been a break even if I had done it. And there was a nice one right here that I missed. Gave a good move down. But then the rest of it, really didn't have much going on. Okay. On the ES, we took just one trade. We missed a couple. And, you know, like, well, here toward the beginning, actually, we took two trades. Both of them break even. I'm gonna fix that in my spreadsheet. We had a break-even trade here that eventually worked out like it should have. Then it spun around and it started to go long. That would have been a break-even trade there. Then we had a momentum long trade right there that we missed. We had a break-even trade right here. Looking down at the slingshot, we had a shorting opportunity right there that we missed, and another one right there that we missed, and then a couple over here that we missed as well. Then we get into the break, and during the break, there was one shorting opportunity right here, and one over here. Okay, and that was the morning session today. You know, there was plenty of opportunity, especially in gold. There was a ton of opportunity in gold, and you know, we took advantage of that pretty well. But we made 2 ticks in the euro, 42 ticks in gold, put us at plus 432.50 on the morning session. And today, it took 10 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we were up on $100 a contract, and we actually took 10 trades today. Hang on a sec. Okay. Let's see. On the month now, we're at $1,445. That's over 4 days, averaging $361 per contract per day. On the year, we're at $45,009. That's over 122 trading days, averaging $368 per contract per trading day. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. And right here, it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click there. It's going to bring you to this page, EminiTrainingschool.com. You can go directly to this page if you want to. There's a lot of information on our website. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. And you can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial. All right. All right, and that's it. With that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. Okay. Dwayne is not ready. Anyway, we had some YBR trades in here today too. I'll go over some of those with you while we wait for Dwayne to come back. Let's see, the thing with the YBR is it's really simple. You just have to have the right color, the right close, and the right kind of separation in the slingshot. So there was a long one right here. There was a long one right here to capture that big move up. A long one right here to get a piece of that anyway. A long one right here. It's a really simple trade setup. You just got to have the right color, the right close, and the right separation. Bang, you're in. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking down here for the right separation. Here, that leg down. Now keep in mind, you're not trying to make 100 points a day. You're just trying to make a goal for the day and then put the mouse away. All right. You got to keep that in mind. I mean, there's so much opportunity out there right now. It's hard not to go for it, but you got to be disciplined. Okay. On the euro, long one right here, YBR. Short one over here on the YBR. Short one right here on the YBR. Long one right there on the YBR. Long one right here on the YBR. That was a lot of that was pre-market. On crude oil. Let's see. Had a long right here on the YBR. A long right here on the YBR. A long right here on the YBR, and then the long right there on the YBR. And a long right here on the YBR. Yeah, there was a lot of opportunity today, trading just the YBR. And you know, the ES is no different. It gave a bunch of opportunity. Short right there. Long right here that didn't go anywhere. See, nothing works 100% of the time. Okay, but if you can get it to work most of the time, and your gains are larger than your losses, then you know over time you're going to have a successful trade setup and trading career. And long right there on a YBR, long right there on a YBR, and yeah. So there was, you know, a lot of opportunity this morning. Long there, long there. Just trading the YBRs. Okay. All right. I don't know if Jolene's back yet. Okay. Yeah.
I'm ready to take it away.
Okay, go ahead.
Here we go. All right, recap of the recap.
Today it took 10 minutes and 4 trades to get to $100 per contract. 4 trades.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the daily chart, guys, of the S&P. Everybody knows the story. Back in January, we put in an all-time new historic high on the S&P. And when we couldn't go any higher, we pulled back to support at the BBC, which launched us to a new all-time historic high. And then we gapped lower on the open on February the 24th. We opened and closed below the BBC. So it had been a very, very long time since we had a bearish cross, a true bearish cross on the daily. And we got the confirmation right here. And this was the pandemic crash. When price could go no lower, it did a reversal and went in from support. It went in look of resistance. Okay. And I'm going to take this out for now. We'll deal with it when it comes up. Okay. So we hit resistance, which sent us back to support. Blue and climbing represents support, whereas red and falling, well, represents lower prices. Once we closed back above the BBC, now that took some time. Remember, the first candle that opened and closed below the BBC was February 24th. The first candle that actually opened and closed back above the BBC was April 7th. That became what we call the pandemic recovery. Leg and a retracement, leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, and a big leg up to the area that we anticipated to be good resistance. What was support became resistance. That's how markets work. That's true on every market, every time frame. The price could go no higher, resistance. It reversed and went looking for support, which it found at the BBC. Support sent us again looking for resistance, which we found at red and fallen. So now let's blow this up. And then we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days battling this area, which was also a 62% reverse fib. Price then actually got below the BBC, and we found support right there, which sent us back to the BBC, above the BBC, and we battled this trend line for just a day. We got above it. We ran up to the area that we had highlighted as resistance, the high of this candle, 31.56 1/4. Went sideways for a day. This was yesterday. This is from Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern to yesterday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's the big red candle. Today's daily candle is right here. And these two lines, I put those on this morning in the pre-market strategy session, because from where we are, price is going to do one of two things. It's going to attempt to take out this swing high, or it's going to attempt to take out this swing low. In order to establish which goal it's going after, or which obstacle it's going to attempt to get past, I reduced it from there to today's candle. Okay? If we take out, when we take out the high of the session, close above today's high, which could be today, above this line right here, then that tells us we're on the path to go challenge this area of resistance. If we close below the low of today's session, that tells us that we're headed lower, but unlike this side, which has no obstacle between here and here, there are no obstacles. If the market chooses the other path, to head lower to try to take out this swing low, it has to overcome today's low, then the step line, then blue and climbing, then the BBC, then the top of this trend line, then it can try to break this low. So these are two important areas right here, and how we close today will possibly give us an indication which path the market's going to take. However, this range that's represented by today's candle, we got a low of 31.38 1/4. We got a high of 31.84. That's a 50 point, almost a 50 point range. We could trade inside of that for days, even weeks. Hopefully we won't. And because of the volatility we've seen of late, we probably won't. But if we had to, that would not be a problem. That's the daily look. Okay? Now, we're going to go over the alerts from last night. As I explain every day, we have two alert services. When you're a passport holder, you receive both of the alerts, right? The Logic 247, which we just celebrated our 100-week anniversary. We're in week 101. Those alerts are based on current price action. That means whatever's happening right now. And they are delivered via the private Telegram channel around the clock from Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Market closes for just 1 hour each day, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. So tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, even though it's Tuesday night, that will begin the Wednesday session. The other alerts are called the Concierge Trade Alerts. Now, two things make them different. First, these are based on historic price action versus current price action. And these are delivered as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. These numbers are good for the entire session. On a typical day, we will see these alerts trigger multiple times. Logic, current price action, concierge, historic price action. Now, when both of these point at the same important price, important area, that's usually a good place to slow down, take a good look, because that's where you're most likely to find your highest probability, lowest risk opportunities. So we'll move these out of the way now. And I believe Valerie just sent me the recap. She did. So let me get it ready for you. Better remember to do this before the show. Okay, got it. All right. As I said, we're in week 101. Yesterday at this time, we had a total of 22 alerts issued. Remember, we start Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. We're still waiting on the results of 10. One was underway. We had 11 actionable alerts. Nothing had been stopped out at that point yesterday at this time. Today, at this time, Tuesday, we now have a total of 41 alerts. Yesterday at this time it was 22. Today at this time, 41. We're still waiting on 4. 9 never triggered. We had 28 actionable alerts. 3 of them got stopped out. That's 11% of actionable alerts stopped out so far this week. That's not a typical number. What we've averaged over the last 100 weeks is 20% of Logic 247 alerts do get stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract, per trade, less when possible, based on a 3-step methodology that I teach all of our traders. Now I'm going to bring up the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. If you'd like to grab a screenshot of those, please feel free to do so. Got them out last night at 6:15 p.m., 15 minutes after the Globex open. S&P, Dow, Russell, Crude, NQ. I didn't put anything out on bond. We don't have a lot of bond traders. CVU. There's gold and soybeans. We don't have a lot of soybean traders. So hopefully you have your screenshot now. Okay. Let's go to the 30-minute S&P. Okay, so the alerts came out last night, the 6th, at 18:15. So we need to find the 1800 candle. That's going to be that candle right there, 1800. So the alert said to consider being long 31.79. Which is right there. Now there was also a logic alert that identified this area right here as potential resistance. Okay. Now the flip side of the S&P was to be short 3150. From 3150, we put in a swing low at 3138.25. So that's about 12 points at $50 a point, $600 per contract traded. On the long side, from 79, we put in a swing high at 3184. So that's 5 points at $50 a point. It's $250 per contract traded. Now, in the pre-market strategy session this morning, I talked to everyone about the importance of that. Okay, that's a bearish cross. Now, you'll notice right here we had a bearish cross, right here we had a bullish cross. Those are really not that important. Okay, because that's part of just a consolidation. It's when we have the ones that really stand out, like this one and like this one. Those have meaning. How much meaning? Well, let me show you. Okay, so this morning, price got above the BBC. It started to make its run to the upside. And this was a big, bold green candle. It looked like it was going to the moon. But I reminded everyone in the training room, you know, gotta watch out for this. Sure enough, resistance. Now, typical traders looking at a typical chart might not see any resistance here or reason for it. But we have tools that help you to see some things that maybe other folks don't see. So when price hit this area, look what it did on the next candle. Okay, we dropped from 3167 to 3159 half. Okay, so price dropped all the way back down to this area of support. I highlighted this area of support for everyone as I was pointing out this and pointing out this, and we had an alert, a logic alert, a trade to take advantage of this window of opportunity. So when price hit the wall where the bearish cross happened, it reversed and came back to support. See, as price was coming down, support, support, support. This time it got through it. Okay, then on the way back up, we hit the resistance, reverse, come back down to the support. Now in this 30-minute candle, that support was good enough that it sent us up to put in an actual new swing high. Not a high of the session, but higher than this high. Now what's happening, price is pulling back. So the traders who were in the strategy session, who are following the alerts, they had an opportunity to take that trade once, twice. Now price is pulling back to the BBC, which is also, you see how if I just extend this area of support, if I extend it over.
John's in, by the way.
John here? All right, guys, yeah. We'll hit pause on the recap for right now. Okay. We'll still do the Dow, the Russell, the NQ, crude, gold. We'll cover everything. But we haven't spoken to John in a few days, so interested to hear what he has to say. John, you ready?
Money in INO, and,
okay, let's just hit mute on that.
Yep, I just muted him right quick.
Yeah, when he's actually ready to come on, I guess he'll let us know.
Okay.
Okay, guys, you with me? We're coming back to support. Two important things here. We're pulling back to the BBC, and we're pulling back to an area that we've already defined as potential support. Okay? Now, what do we expect to happen? I expect price to find support at this area, and then I expect price to come up and challenge this high. If it can take out this high, then it'll attempt to take out that high. Okay, so we'll monitor this throughout the show today. Pull back to the BBC, and then a continuation of the move. So far we have a lag, a retracement, a pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. Okay. All right, let's jump over to the Dow. Last night's number on the Dow was to consider being a long 26,230. 26,230, which is up here. And from 26,230, we put in a swing high at 280. That's 60 points at $5 a point. That's $300 per contract traded. The reverse side was to be short 25,940. And 25,940 is right there. Okay. So 25,940. Okay. So from 25,940, we dropped down to weekly trading zone. This is actually one of this week's weekly trading zones, 25,840 to 25,845. Now keep in mind the weekly trading zones go out to our members Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, since December 14th of 2009. And once we publish the weekly zones, they're carved in stone. We don't change. They don't change throughout the whole week. So it creates a framework that our traders are able to navigate from one level to the next level, sometimes up to the next level, sometimes back to the previous level. And the BBC allows you to understand, helps you to understand which objective the market is typically or currently trying to accomplish. Okay. So when we hit a weekly trading zone, when we come down to a zone, we expect it to be good support, and it was. Sent us up to a zone from last week, 25,970. Resistance, we hit the BBC and a previous weekly zone. So that resistance sent us down to blue and climbing, support. It sent us back to the BBC, resistance. And it looks like this may turn out to be a head fake. If it does, then on the S&P, this pullback may not hold. Okay? Keep that thought. Now, let me check and see real quick if we have an alert in the channel for this move down that we're about to take. I don't think we do. So, $25,905. 43.85. YMU20. There he is. All right. So let's just say 25,880. 25,880. Target 25,860. And then weekly trading zone at 25,840. /25,845. Okay, now let me get John's mic open. John, hang on. I'm going to open your mic up. We had it open earlier, but you were on the phone. So, okay, I'm headed your way to open your mic. All right, John, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks very much.
Good to have you with us. Glad you're good. Glad
Thanks.
you're okay.
We're witnessing a bit of a phenomenon today, which, has been looming over the last, weeks or week or so. We've seen a few, pullbacks and soaring to new highs in a very strong market. We are, as I pointed out last week, we are in the strongest, pretty much the strongest seasonal period of the year, post July the 4th, and sure enough, we came in real strong yesterday. But I really am getting very similar vibes to what happened in February 20th onwards before the crash. In other words, we saw.
Here's February.
Remember the top? I actually said last week, reminded everybody.
Here's February.
The top came in at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock on February the 20th, I think, and that was the beginning of the end. And last night it actually topped out at 9:30. I think it was about 9:30, and it took a pretty big hit. And then we came soaring back this morning, which is not unusual. Usually they kick off the Tuesday pretty strong, but it has not been able to sustain the moves. However, we're just really, even though we've given up about 100 points on the NASDAQ from the highs, from a new all-time high, we're still positive. So I'm not necessarily calling the top just yet. But I think you've got to be very alert between now and sort of 10 o'clock tomorrow night, or maybe midnight tomorrow night or something like that, because if we start sloping down towards the end of the week, it could be a bit of a problem. We should rally back up into the middle of next week, possibly even into the end of next week, but I'm more worried as we get into the third or fourth week of July. Historically, just for reminders, 2011, we had a huge rally into about July the 24th or 25th, and then we got into a big sell signal. We had a 20% down move into the fall, into October the 4th of 2011, and then we made a mega bull market from there, all the way to 2015. So, I obviously, as you know, I'm post any correction, I'm super bullish on the market. But we could get rocked anywhere from a small pullback to a big pullback. Nobody can say for sure. Generally speaking, things are going pretty well. I mean, these job numbers are spectacular. But there's a limit. There is. I mean, there's going to be an attrition of jobs that's built in. That
the JOLTS job openings were positive today, better than expected.
Yeah, but the problem is there are a lot of jobs that have gone, millions and millions of jobs that are going to be tough to recreate. We have employment
numbers again on Thursday.
Yeah,
that's the big one.
And look, if the claims are down on Thursday, obviously we're probably going to pop back up, and that could happen. It would be great if we saw 1 million or 2 less claims. That would be awesome, and could happen. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on. Microsoft is in a big competition with Apple to become the richest, the biggest, richest company, the most valuable company in the world. They're only 100 million apart or so right now, and Apple is still there. Obviously, Amazon has gotten to our secondary target, which our upgraded target at 3,000. Could still go to 3,300. I wouldn't rule that out. And the Nasdaq, we've had a target of 11,000 on it for a while, so that can't be ruled out either. 11,300. Tesla, we've been upgrading Tesla. We got to 1420 today, 1430. Tesla is going to have a hit one of these days. And it's going to be a pretty swift drop, at least 100 or 2.
This monthly chart, this monthly chart on Tesla looks a bit unsustainable.
Yeah.
This can't go on forever, folks.
Right. I mean, it's just incredible, this move, and it's remember the space liftoff was a big deal. It kind of it took a while. We saw it before anybody else, and we alerted everybody to it. But it took a while to kind of unfold and get the momentum. But it certainly it certainly has delivered. That's for sure, beyond anybody's expectations. Remember, we were looking for 1,200 when I made that call a while back.
This company, John, has our attention. We've been talking about it in your absence the last few days.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned it a while back.
Security robots.
Yeah.
Nightscope is one of them. There's a few. What's interesting about this one is they're offering the public a chance to get in before the IPO. 12 days, $8 a share. I still haven't had an opportunity. I need enough time I put in a call to the CEO. I want to interview him, and I want to know what the share structure is. How many authorized, how many outstanding, because you've got to try to gauge, is $8 a bargain? I mean, is this thing going to $80 or 80 cents? Yeah.
Probably going to be a winner. There's Robin Hooders and everything. I think it's probably going to go okay, unless there's a big hit in the market. Yeah. That's really the only risk in buying stocks right now, is getting caught.
Well, with the police getting defunded, this type of security, I mean, if you live in a gated community, I can see every gated community in America having one of these little robots just roaming the streets at night.
Yeah, it's an idea whose time has come, because it's definitely they already got them in Dubai and places like that.
Here's I found another one this morning. What was that one called? I think it was called securityrobots.com. I think it's a privately held company. I don't know if there's any opportunity to get into this. They call theirs telepresence robots. No more need to pay for airline tickets, rental cars, or hotels. Just log into your telepresence robot and be there. Well, this is interesting. Meet when you want, verify the layout of a store, talk to your engineers. Telepresence robots allow you to have an instant presence wherever you want, whenever you want. This is interesting. Okay, so one is geared towards security, right? And this is your hands and feet in another place. Interesting. A lot of doctors are using these now to visit their patients. It makes the whole doctor-patient relationship a bit impersonal. But, doctors are stretched very
Hi, I'm Brock, and welcome to
these days. So is this just some guy talking, or do they actually show the robots? It's just some talking. All right. What chart you want to go to now? You want to look at gold?
Why don't we look at the vaccine charts, because the NVAX in particular today.
What's the symbol?
NVAX.
Oh, did you hear...
November and Nancy. Sorry?
Moderna, a bunch of insiders dumped a ton of shares right before those bad clinical trials came out.
Yeah, I think Moderna,
what is it?
Frankly,
N what?
NVD, sorry, NVAX and NVAX.
NVAX, okay. Got it. All right, there we go.
Okay, this company just got $1.5 billion or something like that from this warp speed thing.
Okay. For
vaccine distribution. There's a lot of skepticism because this was a $4 stock. It was actually a dog, it was it's for several years. It's really a comeback from the dead type of story.
Wow.
But it has certainly wowed the world, and it's one we've commented on. Has been just going relentlessly higher. We mentioned it. It's just you just had to sort of shut your eyes and buy a few times when we mentioned it, and it's just obviously over delivered, and it's lifting the vaccine stocks today. Obviously looked at a huge gap down there when back in 19, and it's been going nowhere for years. But this company is certainly unbelievable recovery, and it could be the real deal. But the problem with these vaccines is they're all RNA, and our favorite, which is INO, is DNA. And we have some pretty good insight into the prospects. I mean, they already got 71 million for vaccine distribution. I happen to know somebody who's in the program. He said it was no side effects. He developed the antibodies. About 94% of them developed the antibodies. We were hoping that it was going to pull back a bit, INO, so we can
Okay,
get
you're
back.
on INO now. I had to take my headset off for just a second.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, yeah, I mean, it's actually picking up today, and
Yeah.
potentially, I mean, it actually could go dramatically higher, this stock, still.
25 to 30 bucks. I like the look of that.
Yeah, and the fact that it just didn't follow through to the downside is pretty impressive so far.
Yeah, I mean, we would have expected support right across here, but buyers got a hold of it and drove it up before we hit support. That's a very bullish thing.
Yeah. Now, mRNA is also going up in spite of all the controversy.
How many shares did they dump? Do you know?
$200 million worth, apparently.
mRNA insiders dump shares. As ordinary investors piled in, 2 insiders were quietly heading for the exits. Moderna's CFO and CMO executed options. And
that was back in May. They dumped more since
this
then.
is way back to May. Okay.
Yeah.
So, was there another wave of this just recently? Or
Yeah, apparently so.
Okay.
So, I mean, you got to watch for this thing to tank. It could, who knows when it's going to tank, but it certainly looks like it's a prospect for, I mean, obviously if we break down below that 60,
short sellers are going to beat
area,
this thing to death, or try to.
You might want to put up Nikola, NKLA as well, the one that was went up to 100 on our recommendation a while back. It went to 100 overnight.
Yeah, so guys, when I tell you about these parabolic moves, this is very typically, they go back to where they were. Doesn't mean it's going to crater and go to zero, but typically after this, they just kind of go back to where they were. Sort of like the S&P, you get a Fed announcement and the market spikes up or spikes down. By the end of the day, it's usually right back where it was before the announcement came out.
Mm-hmm. It's probably, it's come back to test the gap, and it's a three-way pullback, so it could actually resume the uptrend from here. So I think it's also going down at the expense of Tesla, because they were kind of bad-mouthing it a bit, Tesla. And
Tesla was bad-mouthing Nikola?
Nikola, yeah.
Okay.
Sort of saying that, they haven't got their act together yet. And, I mean, it's
now,
a great concept.
Are these battery people or car people, Nikola?
Say again?
Is their product batteries or electric cars?
No, it's a fuel cell and hydrogen, okay. and they do have some electrical stuff as well.
Okay. You need to get that?
No, it's okay. Could you put up the coffee?
Sure.
Right? Thanks.
Coffee. Okay.
Okay. If you remember, I said to buy coffee down before this last little rally, and it had a pretty good rally actually. It was definitely a tradable rally, but it gave a bit of a sell. It kind of looks like it's going to go down.
Do you think all these Starbucks being shut down around the world? I mean, some have reopened, some are partially reopened. I think that's had an impact here.
I do, but you got to keep in mind the possibility of a frost, because this is the frost season in Brazil right now, and as I've said before, when we had a big rally in the fall up to about 140. Sometimes when that happens, it precedes a big up year the following year. So obviously if it gets down to sort of 90 or somewhere like that, and looks like it's going to turn around, I'd probably want to take a shot at it, because if there is a frost, I mean, this thing could go limit up for days or weeks. I've seen it before, and it's a long time since that has happened, and it sometimes happens when there's an oversupply. It's, you know, nature's way of boom bust cycle kind of thing.
You
you know?
and also, you know, things like coffee and sugar, those were once something that the floor traders, it was a floor trader's vehicle. And, you know, with most of those guys gone now and the switch to electronic trading, it's really a different market. And you got to remember, a lot of these floor traders never successfully made the transition to the screens. Some of them just, you know, a lot of them are selling cars now, or, you know, because you tended to be men of large stature, tall, deep voices, very dynamic, and they weren't so much trading as they were building relationships with the other traders so that they could match up their buy and sell orders. And then when faced with charts and technical trading, just wasn't their cup of tea.
Yeah. The other markets to keep an eye on are the grains. You know, they got a bit of a shot in the arm the other day, but they're coming off again. But I think you've got to be looking to potentially buy a pullback here, because I think the sort of a drought, summer heat and drought, and it could be a big rally in August.
Daily on soybeans.
Right. You know, I mean, this is a pretty, look, as I said before, if you go back in history and look at these breakouts, you know, once they start, they can go on, they can go a long way. And if you don't get on board, it's very difficult to get long.
This trade agreement with China got shot down. I expected soybeans to trade substantially lower, but, you know, they've really held, this is a daily.
Well, they actually started buying, you know, they actually started buying the beans, the Chinese, and listen, the soy meal is acting a bit better too, which is a good sign. And the corn, the wheat, you know, they're all looking, I mean, it really could, there could be a, look, you've got gold at $1,809 right now, just about making a new high, 8-year high, something like that.
Well, check this out, John. We are, and I've been talking to all of our traders about this. I mean, this is the all-time historic high right here.
Yeah, it's a closing high.
I mean,
practically a closing high right now, almost. So
intra-month high was 1920, 94.
Yeah. Can you put up the monthly on the gold?
This is gold. This is monthly.
Oh, okay. All right. You see, remember what we talked about, Dwayne, a while back in 2019, sorry. You see, we had the long consolidation there, you know, a couple of down months and then the up month. And I referred people back to the way we went up, you know, in 2010. Mm-hmm. We didn't, you know, the fact that we had a long monthly consolidation actually built a really good base for this run up that's happening right now.
Right here. This is
right.
Like a brick wall here. I would think.
Right.
I mean, anything can happen.
So you know, and you know how I describe this as two words. Dynamically bullish is one, and we're not quite to dynamically bullish yet, but we're, you know, the market's having difficulty restraining itself from going higher. In other words, it's just creeping higher every day. And the dollar is also, you know, coming under a bit of pressure too. So and here we are, just like the mother of all breakouts potentially, where we could literally go vertical into that buying stampede that I'm looking for that could take us to 2,700. So and also, you know, this double, taking out that double top back in 2011 is going to be, you know, I mean, it should blow through that. It should potentially blow through 2000.
That's 2012, and then this one is October of 2012.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it really could go parabolic. This thing, you know, sooner than you think.
I agree.
Sooner than you think.
Now, these 2 months back to back, price, you know, as price got up into this $1,900 area, it was heavily rejected. Then we opened the next month. We traded higher the next month, but we put in, it looks like just a few points higher. Well, the high of August was 1912, and then the high of September was 1920. But these wicks say a lot. I mean, price really got rejected. So if we can overcome that and hold it on a pullback, all these forecasts you've heard about, gold potentially going to 3,000, 5,000, whatever the case may be, this opens the door for that to become reality. But I stand by what I said. The potential, what I believe is the potential or even the probability for silver to double. See, for silver to double just means we go from 18 bucks to 36 bucks.
Yeah.
For gold to double its all-time high, number one, that's a lot more work, and it's never been there before. But if you look at silver, silver has been there before, and we're at $18. Here's 36, just an area of resistance on the way to the all-time high. So while I think everyone should be diversified, their portfolio should be diversified to include precious metals. And if you and remember, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. Physical gold.
No,
and
the silver actually looks a little bit more bullish than the gold, given the tightness.
I really like this chart.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's going to blow through the 20s pretty soon, and I think 30s, the mid 30s is a pretty good bet for this 36 or so, probably pretty quickly. So. I just want to mention, by the way, also the copper is come back really incredibly strongly, and that's a very bullish, copper and silver tend to go up together. Platinum has also taken off again, after testing the 800, and potentially platinum might really be on its way this time. And even the palladium, if it can get back over 2,000, I think it'll just going to help the cause. So the platinum could come from behind here as well. It could, and it could. I still think it could fly up to 1,200 pretty quick. This platinum.
Joan just sent me a message in the chat box. She said B of A closed half the branches near me yesterday. And so my question to her, I'm not. Where are you, Joan? And was it because of the coronavirus? She says so much for lockbox access. So that's a really good point, guys. If you have something you might need in a safety deposit box at a bank, I suggest you get over there and you get it and you dig a deep hole somewhere, because if these banks get shut down, in theory, you're still going to have access to your money through ATMs or through just online moving your money around, paying bills and whatnot. But I'll never forget the morning of 9/11. When that tower fell, I rushed down to the B of A downtown Phoenix because I kind of had an idea of what was coming, and the banker would not let me in. He was my friend and he was my banker, and I said, Bill, you got to let me in. He goes, Dwayne, I can't. I said, listen. He goes, our computers are down, and he goes, even if I let you in, it wouldn't help. I go, no, I just need to get in my safe deposit box. I said, I got 50 employees depending on me. They got to feed their families. He said, Dwayne, I'm sorry, I can't. And he backed away into the darkness, and I'm pounding on these big plate glass windows. Let me in! So even though I had a cash stash, which, by the way, you're not supposed to, and I don't anymore, just for disclosure, I don't anymore, but I wanted to get to that cash so that I could take care of my employees, that I could send them home that day with some money in their pocket. But I couldn't get to that safety deposit box. So if you got something that you may need in the coming weeks and months, this is just, my opinion, you might want to think about getting it while the bank's still open. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, definitely the metals are set to go. Listen, I knew folks who may be familiar with Santa Fe. We've mentioned a few times, and you have too. Thank you very much for that. But unfortunately, we had a little bit of a kind of a technicality that caused the company's been trying to file its financials for a while, and it's a very complex endeavor. And they were all set to do it about a week ago, and unfortunately, they got temporarily suspended by the SEC. They've already put out a release and expect to resume trading, probably at least by the 15th, maybe sooner. Obviously with the information, the K should be out. The Ks should be out within a day or two. Mm-hmm. and that should give people a lot of comfort, because there's some, I'm pretty sure that, just getting these financials up to date is very bullish, potentially very bullish for the stock, and it's not inconceivable we could that we could open higher, on resuming trading. So.
And what are the plans to move back to a different exchange and to get off the pinks?
That's baked. That's part of the course. That should happen within the next few weeks as well. And,
Joan said she's in Orlando, by the way.
Yep.
Where the bank's closed.
We're I think just be patient, and hopefully we'll see some. Obviously, there's some news in the next few days. You can take a look at it, and I think that'll be quite interesting. So, what else?
There's a question for you, John. What do you think of the Sprott Physical Bullion Trust as a way to invest in paper market, but backed with inventory metals per paper share? I'll let John give his answer, and then I'll give you mine.
I think, look, months ago now, I know Santa Fe is yet to catch up with the rest of the market, but it's certainly discounted compared to all the other stocks. So, obviously, I'm personally of the view that this is a pretty good counter.
So, is that a yay or nay on the Sprott Physical Bullion?
Well, look, it's going up just like the gold is, but it's like watching grass grow buying this thing. So I'm not. Look, if you pick a good junior, the juniors are where the action is. Jim Rickards, who's a big gold guy, was saying a few months ago that the juniors is where everybody's saying the juniors is where the action was, and there's been some tremendous moves up in these juniors, and they're likely to continue. So that's where you're going to get the return. You could go for the GDX, the JNUG and the Nugget. They're still out there. They're more risky because of what happened to them. And they've been reduced from a 2 to a 3, from a 3 to a 2, sorry, 3 to a 2-fold.
Here's GDX monthly.
Yeah, so you're not getting the same bang for your buck, but obviously with the GDX, you're getting a better bang for your buck than you would have with the Sprott,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's you got to consider that. I mean, you only live once, and if this is going to be the greatest bull market of a lifetime, you don't want to miss it. You want to max out on it,
That's right.
So, and it's certainly shaping up that way right now. So the platinum just pushed higher here a minute ago, listen, there's just to be on the record, because I don't want to miss a possible opportunity. If you remember when we first met back in around 2000 or so, I made Geron, GERN, my #1 pick for the new millennium, one of them, along with a whole bunch of other pharmaceutical stocks, and also at the time the
no longer trading, huh?
No, GERN. At the time, the fuel cell stocks were all the rage, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Geron was about $8, and I actually said if I was the CEO of Merck, I'd be buying the company. I'd put 10% bet on 8 different emerging pharmaceuticals and cancer treatment stocks, just in case one of them wins or a couple of them win. And Geron went to $132 pretty quick. Within a from 8 to 132 wasn't a bad trade. Right. But like all these things, they were probably ahead of their time, just like the .com at the time and all that. I believe Geron is about to live to fight another day, and it's a little bit like this NVAX. It's come back from the dead, and I believe I've always believed they have. Listen, they got 30 years of data built up, and if you put up IMMU, we alerted everybody.
You can go out right now, form an LLC. Just put Vaxxer or vaccine in the company name, and people will throw money at you. I mean, it's just crazy.
Put IMMU up, Dwayne, if you would. Okay, remember this one gapped up, and Stephen Cohen bought in around 20, as we did, and it's doubled or since then. And this is a breast cancer stock.
Okay.
if you put up Lilly, remember we were very bullish on Lilly
Lilly.
on 100,
That company's been
140.
around since
The
1800s, I believe.
LLY.
LLY.
And Lilly just made an all-time high. After look at that doji. Remember we pointed out that doji down 141, and next thing, $26 the next day.
And that wasn't on earnings gap either. So
right, this is a virus. They got a virus treatment, not a vaccine, but they haven't. You know, that isn't really not factored into the price yet. Most of this gain is because of the breast cancer treatment.
Okay.
And so, you know, with that in mind, GERN, if you want to put it up again,
sure.
You know, could be, you know, just. I mean, look, I don't. You know, the risk reward. If you push it, you know, a bit more, another year or two to see where it's coming from.
Oh, sure.
It's certainly have a pretty big reversal upwards. And
that's weekly.
You know, it looks. Look, it's risky. Obviously, all stocks are risky. Yeah. You can lose all your money, but you know, this one looks appealing because it hasn't really exploded yet, and it could easily gap up anytime. So I think it's, you know, you want to take a look at it yourself. Don't. It's not a recommendation. I'm just
any idea
letting you know about
what took us from $6. This in 1 week, this thing went from $6 down to $2.
You know. Well, I mean, look, they actually
was it a clinical trial that didn't.
The word is that somebody wanted to take them over. And and I think they actually refused to be taken over.
So they
which
ran
is never
up,
a
they
good
ran up on
thing.
the speculation, and then when it got quashed,
it's a little bit like Yahoo. Remember when Microsoft offered Yahoo about $32 or something? They turned it down, went all the way back to $4. This is kind of a similar situation, but you know, eventually Yahoo did go for a decent price. So
Yahoo had a chance to buy Google at one point, and they turned it down.
Oh, I know. Can you imagine? Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, okie doke. Well, listen, thanks very much.
Instead, they gave that knucklehead Mark Cuban almost $5 billion, I think it was, for that broken down broadcast.com.
That was one of the smartest trades by anybody in history. You know, easiest $5 billion you could ever make, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing didn't even work that well. So, all right, John.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you very much. Sure glad you're feeling better. Glad to have you back with us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, we covered the S&P. Okay, triggered on the long side, triggered on the short side. Two-sided action. Okay, we pulled back to the BBC. Okay. The pullback is holding so far. Now, this is very interesting. If we go to the Dow, we're on the opposite side of the BBC. On the S&P, we're on the north side. On the Dow, we're on the south side. By the end of the day, these two will be on the same side of the street. Question is, which side of the street will that be? Well, we kind of look to the S&P as the ringleader. So I think ultimately the Dow will get on whatever side of the street the S&P is on. Okay. So for the Concierge Trade Alerts, that was the long side. That was the short side. Short side may be about to trigger again, potentially. Okay. The Russell. We haven't done the Russell yet. Okay. Let me bring the alerts back up. If you didn't get a chance to grab a screenshot earlier, I'll drag them back up. And if you'd like to, you can. So these went out last night, 6:15 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, shortly after the Globex Open, God willing, the new ones will come out. These numbers are good right up until the new numbers come out. Okay. So on the Russell, consider being short 1433. 14.33. Okay. So 14.33. Initial target is 14.30. So that's 3 points, $50 a point, $150 per contract traded. And then we hit the area that I gave out on a logic alert as support. So we traded from 14.33 down to the support level at 14.22. So that's $550 per contract traded. Caught a bounce. Back up to the zone, back up to the BBC. Resistance sent us back down to support at blue and climbing. Blue and climbing sent us back above the short trigger. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. So now, these are two very different trades. So let me just take a moment to explain what I mean. I think I covered this in the pre-market session today. Over here, when you triggered short, you had red and falling. That's what you want. Bearish wind at your back when you go short. Over here on this trigger, okay, even though it did turn out to be a profitable move, you were fighting blue and climbing. That's why I say never trade an alert just because it's an alert. Go to the chart. See if market structure. Remember, this alert came out last night at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. So first time it triggered, second time it triggered. Nice. Here, this could have very easily become support and sent the market higher. So you have to look at the chart. Don't trade it just because it's an alert. Now, in that same vein, once price got below the zone, got below the BBC, could you pick it up and run with it there? Down to here? Absolutely. In Q. Okay. Last night. This is when the alerts came out last night. On the NQ, we wanted to be long 106.29. Okay. From 106.29, put in a swing high at 64. 64 minus 29 equals 35 points at $20 a point, $700 per contract traded. Price got back below the trigger, triggered again this morning. Now, you'll notice on this trigger, we had the support of blue and climbing. On this trigger, we had the support of blue and climbing. That's what you want. This time, we put in a swing high at 694. So 94 minus 29, 65 points at $20 a point. It's $1,300 per contract traded. If you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, it's a $13,000 move. What do I mean by that? Earning the right to trade a certain number of contracts. If you're part of our family, that means when you come and join, you're going to start learning the methodology, the strategy, and you're going to trade in the simulator in your demo account until you put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. See, even if it takes you 10 trades to make your 2 points for the day, after commission, there's still profit. All right? So, again, new people, 10 days in a row. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care if you're a multi-gazillionaire. If you want to play by the rules, if you truly want to be a member of the family, you'll put together 10 consecutive days in a row in your demo account in the simulator. Once you do that, our 2420 blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you go live with one. Now the goal is to increase your account balance by $2,000. Once you do that, then the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract. The difference between the first and second contract is the second contract is being added with profit you earned in the market. It's the first indication, really, that you are building a profitable trading business. When it's time to add contract number 3, the blueprint will tell you. Number 4, number 5, number 15. The blueprint will tell you. But you're always adding the next contract with profit you earned in the market. If the blueprint tells you it's time to add a contract, but maybe you've hit a rough patch and you don't have the profit required to underwrite adding that contract, then you don't add the contract. You should book a mentoring session with myself, Michael, both of us, and let us go through all of your trades with you to see if we can pinpoint why you don't have profit available to add the next contract. It's very important. Everyone I ever know who ever jumped to the head of the line, well, you know what, I got some money. I'm sure it's the right thing to do to just build one at a time, but I'm a clever guy, so I'm just going to go trade 10 or 20. Never ends well. I've yet to hear that story end well. So, I mean, of course, you could be the first, right? Out of all the, hundreds of thousands of traders that have come before you, maybe it'll end differently for you. I don't know. I mean, I don't have personal experience with that many traders, but I do have personal experience with more than 1,000. So, anyway, what do we expect here? Another trigger? Yes. We'll get a new 30-minute candle in about 3 minutes. That thing starts printing green, triggers, good to go. You could enter right at the trigger, okay? Or, more conservative, would be to let it trigger, let it get above the step line. Doing climbing. That swing high. Just carve a little piece out. Right there. Okay? Now, that would mean a trade that goes from 667 up to 683. 83 minus 67. It's about 16 points at $20 a point. $320 per contract traded. But if you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, it could be a $3,000 move. But you gotta make sure you don't put the cart before the horse, because it's awkward for the cart and the horse. Okay? One step at a time. Now the short side for the NQ on the Concierge Trade Alerts last night, 104.96. So we haven't seen that yet, and we don't know that we will this session. Doesn't look like it, unless this pullback doesn't hold. If this pullback doesn't hold, you should expect support right there. Just as on the S&P, we expected resistance right there, and we got it It's the exact same dynamic on the NQ that would cause this bullish cross, this area, to be good support. So we've got a new candle coming in about 30 seconds. That doesn't mean we're going to dive in 30 seconds. We want to see what happens with that candle. Is it going to continue printing red? Or is it going to turn green? Get above here. Now, from the step line, 649, the blue and climbing, 659. It's actually 10 points right in there. But that's really, you know, it's cutting it close. So you can just wait for something that's a little higher probability, low risk. So see, got a new candle, still red. So nothing to do here right now. Yeah, but I really want to put on a trade in the NQ. I hear it's going gangbusters lately. That's true, it is. But you have to have the patience and the self-discipline to wait for opportunity to present itself in whatever time frame it is that you've chosen to trade in. Whether it's on the range chart or my go-to chart, which is the 30-minute. Okay? Okay, crude oil. Did I just do that? I did. I detached. I undocked my chart. Okay. Last night on crude. Consider being short 40.35. There we go, 40.35. Okay. From 40.35, we traded down to basically 40 bucks. So that's $350 per contract traded. Price reached up, got above the trigger. Swing high there was 38. Still got red and falling. Still below the 50-yard line down on the slingshot. So this time we traded all the way down to the weekly zone, which was the target. On a short trade, the weekly zone below is always the final trade to target. On a long, the final trade to target is always the zone above. So from 40.35 to 39.90, that's 45 cents. 45 cents in the price of crude is $450 per contract traded. One trigger, two trigger. Well, what about this one? No, because instead of red and falling and being below the 50, okay, here you would be selling right into potential support, blue and climbing. And now we can see that even the slingshot has gotten above the 50-yard line. Okay, the long side for crude last night, 40.95. And that was right there. The swing high was 40.95 on the nose. May we be about to trigger again? We may. We certainly may. And so the next zone overhead would be 41.85. And I'm talking about current weekly zone. That's a zone from a couple weeks ago. I guess that's a zone from last week. So this week's zone is up at 41.85/90. And that is the highest. Is that the highest? That is the highest weekly trading zone. Okay. All right, so that's the story on crude. Let's jump to gold. It's our last one. Gold, giddy up. All right, the alert last night on gold was to be short 1787. 1787. Sell. 1787. Okay. And that took us down to the target that I had established at 1783. It actually traded down to almost 1781. That's $590 per contract traded. This trigger, different story, we're going climbing. The long side for gold in last night's alert, Concierge, 1804. That's right up here. Target overhead, zone 1809. That's a last week's zone, 1809. We're already above this week's highest zone. So from 1804 to 1809, it's $500 per contract traded. Could it pull back, touch the BBC, give us another trigger? It sure could. It certainly could. That big picture head and shoulders that we talked about last week, the one that we said would potentially trigger multiple times, okay? Here's the neckline. Triggered once, triggered twice, triggered 3 times. And I pointed this out last night in the discussion group. On this trigger, see the high? Higher high? Higher high? Higher high? Higher high? Low, higher low, higher low. That's about an equal low. Higher low. Higher, that's the definition of a trend. Higher highs and higher lows is an uptrend. Lower highs and lower lows, downtrend. Okay. So this thing's still cooking. The final trade to target was up here at 66.45. Now the area that we thought would be potential resistance is where the bearish cross happened. So first time up it was resistance. Second time up we traded above it, and then that area held as support. And we're still in that area right now. Okay, let me scroll through the Logic 247s with you. Now, the channel opens for business Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Last week, week 100, we had 95 alerts total. 19 never triggered. That gave us 76 actionable alerts. 14 got stopped out. 18%. The average over the last 100 weeks has been 20%. So Sunday night we open long on the S&P, long on the Dow, long on the Russell, long on copper. This gap filled, never triggered. Some more S&P, Dow, NQ, gold. Remember, this is based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, based upon the 3-step methodology that I teach all of our traders. So that was all Sunday night. Everything you just saw, that was Sunday night. Here comes Monday. S&P, Dow, Russell never triggered. NQ, crude never triggered. Gold, stop out on crude. Gold, S&P, Dow, no trigger on the Russell. So there's a hedge on crude, found the target. Stop out on gold, S&P, Dow, NQ, crude, copper never triggered. This hedge on crude never triggered, S&P never triggered, Dow never triggered, NQ. This hedge on the S&P found the target, hedge on the Dow found the target. Still waiting on this Russell, hedge on the NQ. And now we're up to today, July the 7th. S&P, Dow, gold. And our recap so far this week for Logic 247, right here. So far this week, as of noon today, 41 alerts total. Still waiting on 4. 9 never triggered. 28 actionable alerts. 3 stopped out. 11% of actionable alerts stopped out. And that brings us to our good word for the day. If you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat box. Yesterday we talked about it's not too late. That was part 1. Today, part 2. Joel 2:28 says, your old men will dream dreams. The whole verse. Then after doing all those things, I will pour out my spirit upon all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. World champion boxer George Foreman, yep, the guy with the grill, was raised in a Christian home, and eventually he came back to his roots, but not before he tried the world of gangs, drugs, violence. Recognizing not only his physical prowess, but also his potential, a friend suggested he join a local gym to work out his aggression in a more constructive way. That led to him becoming a world heavyweight champion boxer and making millions of dollars in the process. But the career of a world champion boxer is relatively short, and eventually Foreman, aging and overweight, reached the place where the only fights he could get paid to fight only paid a few $1,000. He desperately needed to lose some weight, get back into shape. A friend introduced him to a healthy diet, and part of his new eating regimen, 2 different words, involved using a little grill. One day, Foreman's wife suggested that instead of simply using the grill for himself, he should put his name on it. Maybe other people would buy it. And boy, did they. I'm sure everybody in the audience, if you own a TV, you've seen the infomercial for the George Foreman grill. How many has he sold? Over 100 million. That's a lot. And he's still selling them today. Think about it. George Foreman made more money with his little grill than he made as a prize fighter. The Bible says that when the Holy Spirit empowers them, your old men will dream dreams. Now, remember the topic we've been talking about for 2 days is it's not too late. So regardless of your age, it's not too late. Just get out on your knees today and pray, Lord, all that I have, all that I am, and you know what, if it's not much, don't be embarrassed. I mean, now think about this. It's very easy to surrender everything to God when you ain't got much, right? It's when we think we're somebody, then it's a little more difficult. When we don't have any money, it's easy to give it all away. Or we don't have much money, it's easy to give it away. Now that doesn't even make sense if you think about it. If I have a lot of money, I should freely give. But really what happens with man is as we start to amass some wealth, we got to build all these walls around it to protect it. But if we've got 50 cents to our name and somebody says, hey brother, you got a quarter? Sure. You just gave away half of your wealth. It's only a quarter. Yeah, but it was all you had. We need the spirit of a broke man in a rich body. It's not too late. Whoever you are, wherever you are, it's not too late. Get on your knees and pray. God, all that I have, all that I am, I give fully to you. Use me as you see fit. And when he answers, be prepared for him to take you in a whole new direction. He's waiting on you. That's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell. Awkward silence.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-host, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.